Tell me the similarities between all these companies. Yes, Reddit, Twitch, Airbnb, and Coinbase. No matter how different they may sound, and they all belong to different genres and different domains, but they all have one commonality. They are all successful online companies, which was basically part of the incubation services of a company called Y-combinator. In this video, I will discuss about one blockchain company that's trying to become the next Y Combinator while using the advantage of the blockchain technology. Hey guys, this is Puneet Rastogi, the founder of CryptoCrunch, one place where all the investors go to for more knowledge and higher profits. And in this video, I will be discussing about dragonchain. Guys, if you already haven't, I would request you to please subscribe to my channel. If you think this video added any kind of value or information to you that helped you make your mind in the decision of investing, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, it's very important to know that this is not an investment advice and it's purely my fundamental analysis and my finding which I'm presenting to you. So please do your own due diligence before investing. So a little bit of history about dragonchain. In 2014, dragonchain was designed to be the private blockchain for Disney. In 2015, it was basically released as an open source release. In 2017, dragonchain Incorporated was created. It was an independent blockchain company, which was nothing but backed by Disney. Now, dragonchain is a highly scalable blockchain, which has its own platform, its incubator, as well as its own marketplace. Now, before we start breaking down each of these services, let's first understand some of the investment speculation about dragonchain. Now, when the dragonchain ICO happened, one of the Genesis wallet, which was the wallet which was present when the first block of Ethereum was mined, actually participated in the ICO. That wallet has basically used 3,600 Ethereum and invested it in the dragonchain ICO. Understand what are the implications of this, guys. It's very important to note that the Genesis wallet, or which is probably speculated to be a wallet of one of the founding members of Ethereum, would have probably analyzed and understood the code, the GitHub code of dragonchain, and only then possibly invested in this project. It is also speculated and rumored that this mystery investor was none other than the founder of Ethereum himself, Mr. Vitalik Buterin. This action by one of the founding members of Ethereum, their reliance or their investment in one of the ERC20 tokens of dragonchain, basically gives high confidence on the code or the structure or the architecture of dragonchain system. So guys, before we can start with the analysis, let's quickly go through some very critical concepts. Firstly, the token or the currency used by the dragonchain are called dragon tokens or dragons basically, and they are ERC20 tokens which are based on Ethereum blockchain. Days of slumber is another important concept, and it's basically a metric that the dragonchain team or the dragonchain project evaluates or computes, and it's nothing but a simple product of the amount of dragons that you hold with the time in days of the dragons held by a particular account. So in short, let's say if you have 100 dragons on you and you're holding them for 10 days, then your DSS or dragon slumber score would be nothing but 1000. So as you can see on the diagram, you can see that dragonchain project is basically, it has its own platform. It has an incubator which will provide incubating services, as I discussed in my opening statement of the video. At the same time, it also has its own marketplace. So let's first start with the platform part of it. How is this platform any different from, let's say, an Ethereum platform or an EOS platform or a Neo platform? So the first and foremost is this platform allows development using languages like Python, Node, C# or Java. Unlike Ethereum, which has its own language in Solidity, right? So that gives a huge advantage because it already has an established developers base, because there are already developers who are developing using these languages. As a matter of fact, dragonchain itself was created from scratch using Python. So that gives a huge developer community to it. As I said, it's an open source development community and all its commits are available on the GitHub. Now, the second advantage as a platform that you get, it is highly scalable, right? Scalability has been a problem which has haunted Ethereum from long time. EOS claims to be highly scalable as well. We have seen blockchains like Zilliqa getting advantage because they are scalable, right? So first and foremost is the developer community, which it gets. Second is the scalability. And the third is the security. Now, what dragonchain is doing, it allows companies or non-blockchain companies like Disney and other such companies to use the architecture or use the advantages of the blockchain technology. It basically allows them to gradually move from a private to a completely open ledger or an open source companies using blockchain technology, while keeping certain assets or certain legalities or certain concepts of those private companies private itself. This is one thing which is not possible in projects like Ethereum, right, guys? So you get the added advantage of asset-based companies like Disney or other publication houses to use the technology of blockchain while keeping certain aspects of their companies or of their entities private, right? This is one very important thing which is inbuilt in the architecture of blockchain. It allows for certain aspects or certain components to be as private or as open or as public rather as they would want to be. An important point or consideration from the perspective of investors is that dragonchain's entire team is situated out of this Seattle office. Now, this office is basically close to a lot of other huge firms, one of them prominent being Bittrex. Now, what it does, also, this company is basically backed by Disney. We all know that. So it gives a lot of confidence for the investors, VCs, to basically have a prominent office in one of the prominent locations of the world and be accessible, right? So this gives a huge confidence to the investor community. So keep a note of that as well. So now we come to one of the most important and one of the most critical criteria why I find dragonchain to be a huge potential coin. And that is its incubator as well as its marketplace. So what I've just told you are few subtle benefits of using dragonchain as a platform above other platforms like Ethereum, Neo, EOS, etc. Now what I'm trying to tell you in this point is its usefulness as an incubator as well as a marketplace. So dragonchain claims that their incubator services will basically apply prediction market mechanics and help scale and accelerate the incubator projects. And that's where the value for their incubator is created. And we've seen that. I mean, if you look at the companies that we just discussed at the opening statement of this video, companies like Reddit, Airbnb, they all were basically part of this incubator. They got exposure to early investors, which were again part of Y-combinator, and that's how they all grew. So incubation services are really critical, and when it's backed by companies like Disney, it can work wonders. Now, if any company wants to apply for the incubation services of dragonchain, they would have to meet certain predetermined requirements as well as a consensus from the community or the dragonchain community. Only once they have met all those things, and they also need to have a particular DSS or Dragon Slumber Score, which basically means they need to stake certain amount of they need to hold and stake certain amount of dragonchain tokens. So only once all these things are met, they can basically apply and be a part of the incubation services, which will expose them to the dragonchain community for investments as well as other VCs and other investors. Now, there are two added advantages for this particular process. Now, we have seen when it came to the ERC20 ICOs, what happened was a lot of fraudulent projects came into picture, and a lot of companies just with a white paper and a website were able to do a fraud and take away with a lot of money from the general public. This can be prevented because they need to have a particular criteria, and those criteria will ensure that the project is not a fraudulent project. At the same time, what is important is it creates a certain degree of urgency. Why so? Because dragonchain incubator will allow only one particular type of company to be part of it in that particular domain. For example, if there is an cannabis related medical company, then there's only one company of this sort that can be a part of the incubator of dragonchain, and they cannot be any other dragonchain, any other cannabis related or a medical type company with that particular domain to be a part of the incubator again. So that creates a certain urgency that before your competitor can be a part of the uh, incubator, you should be the part of it, right? So these are two primary criteria or two primary advantages that I can see. So now, as an investor, if suppose you need to have a particular DSS, if I'm not wrong, it is 5 million DSS, which basically means either you hold 5 million dragons for one day, or you continue holding them for a certain period of time. Based on the number of dragons that you have, or based on your DSS rather, you will be able to invest in in these incubated projects. And there already are more than 6 projects, 6 to 7 projects, which are currently in the incubator of dragonchain. uh, I will list them. You can see them out here right now, right? So you can check out what these projects are, and they're all from very different variety of domains, and they are doing well in their particular domains as well. So you can track their progresses as well. So now let's discuss why will there be a demand of dragons, and why do I think that the value of dragons will continue going up. So as I always keep on saying, guys, always go for the usability of the token. Now, the economics or the structure, the ecosystem of this project is such that three communities are going to require to hold or use dragons in some or the other way. Which are these three communities? The companies or the founders of the companies which want to be a part of the incubator services would require a particular amount of dragons to be into the incubator. As I said, there will always be an urgency to get into incubator, because otherwise your competitor in your particular field would want to get into the incubator, right? Second, it's important for the investors to hold dragons, a particular amount of dragons, to have a particular DSS, to invest in these incubator companies early on, right? So that creates a demand of dragons again. And third, and the most important demand of dragons are by the developer communities. Now, developers would require to hold dragons or use their dragons for scaling of nodes. They'll also require it for realization of smart contracts or to create marketplace smart contracts, right? So this is how the economics of the dragons or the dragon tokens are, and that creates value for them. And as we go forward, in the month of April 2018 itself, the proof of work implementation will start. The predetermined smart contract libraries too will come into place, and that's when the value will start realizing itself. So let's summarize what we have learned today, guys. Firstly, the usability of dragon coins or dragons is going to increase. There are three different classes that will be utilizing these dragons. All these three classes have clear indication of increasing the use of dragons. That's one. Secondly, we learned the Dragon chain is highly scalable and a fast blockchain. It does quite a few things better than its competitors like Ethereum and Bitcoin blockchain. At the same time, it's also an incubator, something similar to Y-combinator, and it adds value for your investment in that perspective as well. Apart from that, we also saw that it's extremely developer friendly. It uses technologies which are already familiar with the developer community. It also has predefined libraries and smart contract libraries that the developers can use. Another important point which I could not cover in this video is it has a very well established and reputed team behind it. The advisors are also extremely familiar with the blockchain technologies. The CEO has worked intensively on blockchain technology and has worked with companies like Disney and several computing startups in the past. Most of the developers too are from the Disney background. Uh, they have a lot of experience in developing softwares, as well as exposure to the blockchain technology. So they have a very reliable and stable team behind them. So far, they have already met all their timelines, and all their release have been timely. So based on these, I personally think that Dragon Chain is a sound investment and a stable company to invest in. Guys, if you already haven't, I would request you to please subscribe to my channel. If this video helped you in any way and added value to you in any way, please do give it a thumbs up. Have a great day, guys, wherever you are. Have a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, a great evening. See you guys soon.